Welcome back to another episode of Raul's World of Synths. I am Raul. Last time we talked about the basics of the A163 voltage controlled frequency divider. We had a look at how it will divide the frequencies that go in via the audio input right there, and then it sends sort of a sub octave down the out from right here. I did want to mention that there is a second model of this that was produced actually later than this one, I think later than 2007 if I'm not mistaken, that can actually work with DC and AC signals. This model right here in front of us is actually only able to do the AC signals, so audio signals. There is a way to modify this one, but I haven't experimented with that yet. So for our demonstrations, we're going to limit it to audio only. But just wanted to mention that in case you're wondering about why I didn't sort of approach that subject. At any rate, we're going to be doing a little demo this time, kind of seeing the A163 within the context of a patch, using a synthesizer patch or kind of a VCO being sent to a VCA over here. And then the second one is actually receiving from the sub. So let's go ahead and patch this. We're going to be getting some notes from our A155 over here on the side in a little bit, but first let's get our intervals tuned and then kind of experiment with that. So let me patch the pulse wave first into here. There we go. And let me bring my frequency divider all the way down to the bottom. And so now if you look at our tuner, we actually have the same pitch right there. It's maybe a couple of cents off, but pretty close. C5 and C5. So the one on the left is our VCO pitch, and the one on the right is our frequency divided pitch coming from our A163. And if you're curious how this is working here, let's see, we got the VCO going up there. One of the copies is going to the oscilloscope. The other copy is going up to the A163 in the input here. The output is then going into, let's see, the lower section of the multiple. One of those is actually going to the second input of the tuner, which is the number on the right on the tuner. And then the other instance is going over to input number 2 over here. Okay? And then I also have, let's see, a envelope that you can't really see off camera down here somewhere that's going to be shaping the sound a little bit. So now let's go ahead and sort of tune in an interval. So and just adjust this a little bit. You should see the number on the right change a little bit. There we go. And there's a C4. It's not an E4 for a moment. Let me see if I can get that back. C4. And there's about a fourth. There's another C. There's a G sharp 2. There's a D. C. And so basically you can just dial in whatever interval or sub-interval, or sub-octave, sorry, that you want pitch to be, choose from that. But let's start back at the unison there, and I'm just going to bring it down to, let's see, let's just do 1 octave down first. Start there. Now I'm going to grab some pitches from my sequencer over here at post out, where my pitches are coming from. Those are going into a quantizer, and then from my quantizer I'm going to patch them into our VCO. So here we go. Make sure my cables are patched all the way. There we go. So now they should be playing consistently at an octave apart from each other. If you remember back to the numbers we were looking at a little while ago, we're at a C5 and a C4. So now if I were to switch this down an octave, both pitches would adjust. I'm going to leave it right there for now. And let me unpatch my pitches again. And now let me see if I can dial in a different octave. Let me get it back to unison here. So I actually went one octave down, so now we're with a C4 and a C4. So let me bring one up. Patch in a different interval there. Let's actually go with the F2 right there. So now let me get my pitches and then patch into CV1. Okay, so these are just a couple of basic demonstrations just to illustrate how it'll have an effect on your sound. Now, our normal VCO is actually going into input 1, so let's hear that by itself. So that's really all you're getting. But then when we bring in that sub frequency, kind of fattens it up a little bit, and you get a nice full sound. Cool. All right, let's keep it going. So now that we have something like this, you can go one step further and you can modulate. So if you wanted to modulate, you could pretty much patch any kind of CV source that you wanted into the CV input over here of our frequency divider. I happen to have two modules here that we're going to experiment with, the A147 and then the A174 joystick. So let me just get a couple cables and then we'll do a little bit of experimentation with this. So first let's work with the joystick. So I'll take the CV out from here and then just patch it into the CV in right there. Let me bring this down all the way. Okay. Now let's modulate that signal a little bit. So now in order to do that, I just move my joystick. It went a little bit too high, or a little bit too low in this instance. Let's try the other direction. And this is just meant to illustrate sort of a very simple example here. It's not perfectly in tune for sure. Let's try a different one. But you can hear how it's changing there. Let's go in the other direction. Now you could also do the X direction, pretty much the same thing, left or right. Whichever one you prefer, or you could rig up some kind of both and then run them into a mixer or something like that if you wanted to. Alright, let's try a different type of CV source. Let's try maybe triangle wave. And this is where it'll just sort of run all by itself. Bring the frequency down a little bit. CV input down a little. Try something a little faster maybe. Now these examples aren't necessarily the most melodic in the world, for sure, but I just wanted to give you kind of a taste of the types of things that you can do with this. Now you could also get some really crazy types of sounds if you bring the CV input all the way up. And then you just experiment with different types of waveforms, or just different frequency divider settings if you're not really going for a tonal type sound. Let me actually bring the octave of this up a little bit. So a little bit of experimentation and a little bit of trial and error and a good ear will help you along your way with the A163. Now I'm going to wrap up the demo here to save another demonstration that I have planned in the next video on frequency multiplication. We're going to be using the A196 and the A163 together to produce some frequency multiplication. So hopefully you found this video useful. Please, as always, leave any feedback that you have about this video or any of the others that you've watched on the video page for this one. And also don't forget about my other channel, my other YouTube channel called Modular Wild. That's for non-Doepfer Eurorack modules. So if you're kind of curious what the other side of Eurorack has, or the other part of the world has to offer, be sure to check it out. So keep on patching out there, and we'll see you next time.